What's going on everybody, this is Kart and I'm back with a new video. I've just started my journey here, so for the new covers, Primal VFX is the place where we'll learn about visual effects, CG and much more. And today we will redo together a killer NFT artwork inside Maya with the power of Arnold Render. And we will try to do it integrally with procedural shading. So get relaxed, grab a coffee or a cup of tea and let's roll the intro!
So guys, I've discovered recently this digital artist named Bongstra. He's making some really cool NFT collections. I'm really digging the peculiar style, the weird noise patterns, the color palette. I mean, everything looks gorgeous. In particular, the embodiment of emotions collection. So I've got inspired and decided to try to do something in this vibe. So first off, we need a faceless character, if possible rigged to set up a quick pose. Luckily, I found this model for a couple of bucks and it suits perfectly what I was looking for. Okay, then I fire up Maya and set up a quick pose with the help of the bones structure. Then I needed to clean up the mesh because we will be using displacement later on. So I've duplicated the mesh and then done an automatic retopology with the help of Quad Remesher. Added a camera and I framed the shot. Here's the camera settings. For the look dev, I've imported my standard look dev scene, an HDRI and two lights, a rim light and a fill light, and of course the backdrop. Okay, now let's begin together the look development of this artwork. Let's create an AI standard surface, rename it to keep things organized. Let's input in the base color a mid-gray value and set up the roughness to 0.45. Now we can apply the shader to the model. Okay, then we need to create some interesting noise pattern. So let's create an AI noise node. Let's connect it to the normal camera. But to do so, we need to create first a RGB to float node. Connect it like this. And then create another node named Bump2D and connect the nodes like this. Okay, let's preview it in the IPR. Let's tweak the AI noise node. We can solo it in the IPR. We can increase the octaves, adding some distortion, lowering the lacunarity. The scale is way too small, so let's increase it a lot. Nice, looking already interesting. Now let's complexify it with another noise. This time we will use an high cell noise. Connect the out color to the P input. P is the input coordinates of the 4D fractal noise function. Let's tweak the node settings. The scale is a bit too small, so let's increase it a bit. Let's preview the result. Nice, really interesting pattern here. Again, renaming the nodes to keep things organized. Now let's add some displacement based on these nodes. Create a displacement shader. Let's connect the noise to the displacement shader by using the frozen affected output, and then the displacement shader to the displacement map input in the shader engine.
Hey you, I know you are watching my video and I know you are not subscribed yet. It's literally so easy, just go down there and boom, press subscribe. So like this video, comment and hit the subscribe button. Now back to the switch shader.
Let's increase the subdivision of the mesh by choosing Card Clark type and increasing the iteration to 2. Let's also configure the attributes 8 to 1 and bounce padding to 3. Nice. The displacement value is a bit strong. Let's drop it by half. Again. Okay, really nice. Okay, now let's create some color values for the base color. Let's duplicate our two noise nodes. Okay, we can refresh and preview it in the IPR. Now we can change in the AI noise node the mode to vector to input some colors. With the time input, we can cycle through the noise color variation. Let's tweak the other settings as well. Now let's tweak also the AI cell noise. Nice. Let's add an AI color correct node to tweak the color furthermore. Okay, then plug the node like this. We can lower the gamma to make it less bright. Change the hue shift to find an interesting combination. Let's lower also the contrast. Now let's add a curvature node to spice it a bit. Let's set up it properly. We can increase the sample to 8 and change the radius to 0.5. Now let's add the curvature as a mix for the color. To do so, create an AI layer RGBA node. Set the layer 1 to white. Input the color correct node to layer 2 and the curvature to mix 1. And last, connect the AI layer RGBA out color to the base color. Let's verify it in the IPR. I forgot to change the operation of layer 2. Let's choose overlay. Also, we need to boost the curvature output value. To do so, we can create an AI range node. Plug it in the middle like that and boost the output max value to 20 or 30. Let's change the operation of layer 2 to over and lower the mix value. Yeah, much better. Now let's tweak the shader. We can lower a bit the weight of the color. Change the specular IR to 1.55. Let's introduce and tweak the cut layer. And finally, let's add subscattering surface. Let's put the weight to 0.4, radius to 0.2, and change the type to random walk V2. Let's add some color to the subsurface color, and the same to the radius. And finally, let's replug the base color. And boom, the final result. Really nice. What do you think, guys? This is a really cool way of doing some abstract NFT-like artwork.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, you know what to do. Subscribe to my channel for more awesomeness. And I see you guys in the next video.